Hello everybody. Today in Photoshop we are going to learn how to create an image that looks like this. So hold on tight, here we go. We have our images on our desktop here. First thing that we want to do is do a right click, open with Photoshop. Photoshop opens it up and it's kind of small, but actually it's kind of big. So I'm going to go ahead and press Command 0. That blows it up. You can see that we're almost 8.5 inches by a little bit 10.5, so pretty decent size. That's our starting point. First thing that we want to do, we want to start making our adjustments in Photoshop, and in order to kind of tweak some colors here, we're going to come down just below our layers panel to the little circle. It's a little black and white circle down there at the bottom. We're going to click on that, and then you get a whole bunch of different options. From here, maybe I want to adjust the brightness thing and the contrast. Right above the layers panel is where that lives. I can tone it up, tone it down, push the contrast. It's all up to you, right? And then you can see that it pulls up this little other adjustment layer is what it's called. I can continue to make adjustment layers on top of all of those. Maybe I want to adjust some of the colors. Whoa, we want to go like Guardians of the Galaxy here, make things kind of wonky, right? So that's what we can do with some of the adjustment layers. I'm going to go ahead and press delete, and that gives me back to my original starting point here. First thing that we actually want to do is we want to make it black and white. So in order to do that, we're going to come down here to the black and white. Click on that. This is our default settings right up here. Once again, right above the layers panel. You might have a little pop out that happens. It's all good. This is our default. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes, most of the time, it needs adjusted. So we're just going to do some back and forth. I like to just kind of throw it back and forth real extreme like, so we're just going to push that over a little bit more. Once again, what does that do? We'll push that up a little bit. The greens, looks like it adjusts the background and a little in the eyes there, right? Did you catch the eyes? Next one, once again, same thing, has some adjustments in the eyes and the back. Close that all the way down. And don't forget the magenta. Not much is happening. A little bit around the eyes. So we'll go ahead and throw that all the way up. So that's what we're looking for right there. Here's our before and our after. All we did was make it black and white. Easy enough. So after that, here's where things really start kind of taking a different turn. We're going to start upping our game a little bit. We have our cutout, right? So let's just drag that in, and you'll notice that it's already got a little hole cut out. I'm going to go ahead and press enter to make sure I set it down there. And I'm going to go ahead and let's do a Command T one more time. Command T, get it situated right where we want it. I'm going to press and hold Shift. That allows me to make it all skewed and wonky. Let me do it. We're just going to bring it in just so it's right about there. I don't want any of her hair in it. I just want more of the eye is what I'm looking for. Something like that. Boom. I like it. All right. So if I were to go up, grab my magic wand, go ahead and click on that, you'll notice that it's actually selecting some of the white. And so if I press delete, nothing happens. It comes up and says could not complete your request because it's a smart object. Now that's what I'm talking about. This is what I want to show you here. I'm going to do a Command D, deselect. Over here in our layers, you'll notice that this is our little ripped paper hole here. It's got this little page turn. This is how we know that it's a smart object. On the word itself, go ahead and do a right click, and then we're going to press Rasterize. This allows us to do a little bit more changes. So now, once again, if I press the magic wand, press delete, it gets rid of a little bit more than I really want taken out. So instead of doing that, let's jump over into our toolbox here, grab our eraser, also known as E. We can grab the eraser, and I'm going to make it big by, you can make it bigger by moving it up and down, checking where it's at. I am going to press on my brackets on my keyboard. The one underneath the plus sign makes it bigger. The bracket underneath the minus sign makes it smaller. So I'm going to real quick just get rid of some of this stuff that I know I don't need. Right about like so. Okay, I'm going to zoom in, Command plus, a couple of times, grab and hold the space bar, and I'm going to make it small as I go around the rest of the pieces here. I'm going to give it a little bit of a border around the papers. So if you need to press pause, go ahead and press pause. I'm going to go ahead and do this in double time. Okay, welcome back. So now I have this cutout. I've taken my little piece of paper with the hole in it and I've cut it out to something that I'm okay with. I'm liking where it's at here. So let me zoom back out, Command 0, and you can see where we're at here. Let me grab my home base move tool. You can see that we have the paper, we've got the face. If I turn it off, nothing's really there, right? All right, but this is where things start to get a little bit more fun. So this first layer, this is our paper. We can even double click on that and change it to paper if we wanted to. Keep things a little bit more organized. What I want you to do here is come up to the very top. This little piece here is our blending modes. This allows things to start taking a different shape, right? You can see as we just scroll on through that our paper starts doing some weird things. We're going to go with the multiply tool, or the multiply blending mode, and that kind of starts picking things up in a different way. So you can see we got a little bit of shadow going around here. We got a little cutout happening. That's what we're looking at. Nice. I like the little cutout. That's a good look so far already. Now let's jump back into our black and white adjustment layer there. And notice how it's white right here. Think deep about this. Let me ask you this question here. What is the opposite of white? What's the opposite color of white? And if you said purple, you're absolutely right. No, it's not. It's black. So this is white over here. Black is what we're looking for over here. So if I grab my brush tool, you'll see what I'm talking about here. I can start brushing out the inside of the face. So white hides, black revives. Now if your colors aren't the right colors here, we can click on those little dinky ones, right? And we can flip them back and forth. And if they're not the right colors because you double clicked it and you got red, it's all good. Just click it, flip it, and away we go. So I'm going to make this big just to kind of get us started here. I'm going to go all the way around, and you'll notice that it's not very well done, but that's okay, because once again, if you think about it, white hides, black revives. So I'm going to flip it back, and now from here, I'm going to zoom in and make my brush smaller and go over all these little pieces to make sure that I have it perfect. So once again, you go ahead, get yourself caught up, and I'm going to do this in double time. So we'll see you on the flip side when this is done. Alright, welcome back. Here is where we're at now. We have a very nice bit of color coming through on our black and white. And once again, if you oops up and you're like, oh no, I got too much going on, I don't know what to do, just flip the colors back, come back over here, make sure it's on white. I'm going to make that bigger and color it back. So that's how we change it. Alright, now we're starting to make some stuff here. We're starting to really have a nice little picture coming through. This is what we're talking about. Next piece that we're going to do, we're going to click on the paper in our layers panel. We're going to come all the way down to the bottom. Right next to the trash can is a little plus sign. We're going to click on that because we want to add our own shadow. Okay. From here, make sure your brush is set to black. I'm going to make it kind of small. And I'm going to go right at the edge of the border and the paper. Right, so we got the face and the paper rip there. So I'm going right at the edge and go all the way around. Right there. Here we go. Okay, perfect. We've now created a wonderful shadow. It looks fantastic, but I think we can do better. If we go up to the very, very tip top to what we call filters, we're going to now click on where it says blur, and we're going to go to Gaussian Blur. Gaussian Blur is fantastic. From here we can just kind of find that sweet spot where it's blurred enough but not too much. And right about 15 is kind of where I'm shooting for. I like that. And now here's a before and an after. Alright, so we have our shadow. We've got a nice shadow going on here. One more time, I want you to come all the way down to the very bottom of your layers panel and grab that little square with the hole in it. If you click on this guy, once again, it creates an adjustment layer. White hides, black revives. So we're actually going to go through and hide that shadow that now overlaps our face. You can see that there's a lot of shadow that goes over the face, and we don't want that shadow over the face. So I'm gonna just cruise on through here, getting red once again. If I oops it, I can flip it back and fix it, right? So there is where we're at. I'm gonna go through, make my brush a little smaller, get all the shadow pieces cleaned up. So once again, I'll see you back here because I'm going to do this double time. So just fine-tuning all the pieces. See you soon. All right, and we're back. Once again, that is looking pretty darn awesome. Here's our before, just a quick little shadow. That's all we did. The next thing I'm going to do with that shadow layers, I'm actually going to turn it down just a little bit because I think it's a little too strong. So I'm just going to grab the opacity there and turn it down maybe like 70%, give or take. That's looking pretty good. Maybe I'll take it down a little bit more, give or take about 50. That's looking good. Not too strong, but just enough. So we have just a couple of quick layers there that we've gone through. We've started with a basic photo. We've made it black and white. Look at that little cutout there of the eye. We've put an adjustment layer on it where we let some color shine through, and then we put a piece of paper on to make it look like her face is kind of ripping off. Put a little shadow, done and done. Looking good. Okay, from here, we can go ahead and save it. File, save. I'm going to save it to my computer. I'm going to title it as my name and face. Save it to my desktop so I know where it's at. And done. Easy as that. That's it, everybody. If you got questions, let me know. We'll see you soon.